Hello and welcome to Witness Aid UK. Today I'm going to talk to you about a cheery subject, Armageddon. Are you afraid of Armageddon? Do you ever watch the news and have a sneaking doubt that Armageddon might be coming? Do you ever wake up at night in the wee small hours and worry about it? If so, it's possible that you need some deprogramming done. Because if you still have that residue of fear that was instilled in you by the Watchtower, the chances are that you need to do some reading and research to convince you that Armageddon is going to be a non-event. When I had my Witness Aid UK website some time ago, a man who had been disfellowshipped from Jehovah's Witnesses in his youth telephoned me one day. It was during the Gulf War, and he was terrified. He was now in his late 30s, and he was crying and sobbing down the phone in fear as he was speaking to me. He said he just couldn't get the fear of Armageddon out of his head. Every time he watched the news and he saw programs about war, earthquakes, disasters, famine, pestilences, some of those things which are mentioned in the Bible book of Matthew chapter 24, he was terrified. Because as a disfellowshipped person, he thought that Jehovah God had a personal vendetta against him and would destroy him mercilessly at Armageddon. A week ago, I had a similar question from someone on my blog. And he said, "Do you fear Armageddon?" "I still do," he said. And the short answer to that question is, no, I don't. Why not? Well, maybe I should ask you, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, why should I fear Armageddon? What can you prove about Armageddon? The idea of Armageddon comes from a single verse in the book of Revelation. That's the only mention of this place in the whole of the Bible. Most of the Watchtower's doctrine on Armageddon and the last days and the paradise earth to follow is made up. Let's look for a moment at Matthew chapter 24. And I'm going to recommend to you a book, because I'm not going to tell you all the answers. The book is called The Signs of the Last Days, When? And it was written by Carl Olaf Johnson and a companion of his named Herbst. You'll find it online. And basically, it discusses world history and compares world history with the 20th century. And what you will find is this: the events since 1914 are not at all special or unusual in world history. And Johnson gives you very detailed reasons and statistics to prove his case. If you now add to the fact that the date 1914 is also wrong anyway, the whole Armageddon hypothesis falls apart. Every historian and his dog will tell you that the fall of Jerusalem was not in 607 BCE. Do your research and you'll be able to prove it for yourself. There's another little problem coming along too, of course, and that is concerning the generation. And that is not a joke, by the way. So, do I fear Armageddon? Should I fear Armageddon? Is Armageddon coming? I don't think so. But let me ask you this question if you're a Jehovah's Witness. Do you think that the massacre of 8 billion people is a fair price to pay so that you can have your paradise earth soon? Don't you lose sleep over that sometimes? I know I would. You know, finally, a few years ago, I realised something very important. I'm not going to live forever. Is that remarkable to know that? Well, when you consider that in my youth I was taught that I would never die at all, that is quite remarkable. Because I was taught a lie by the Watchtower. They told me that people who would be alive when Armageddon came in 1975 would never die at all. Because under Jehovah's protection, faithful Jehovah's Witnesses would live right through Armageddon under God's protection, and they would never die at all on this earth. That is a sick teaching. It is criminal to tell young people that lie. So I'm actually quite glad that I've come to understand that death is part of the human condition. And you know what? I don't mind. It will be inconvenient to die. I've got a lot of books to read. I've got a lot of things to do. But it's part of life. It's part of the human condition. And when you're waking up to that idea, perhaps you'll get on with your life and start doing things now instead of postponing them until the new world soon. And there's another thing. About not fearing death. When I die, it will be in peace, with a calm mind and heart. Whereas you Jehovah's Witnesses are going to be constantly agitated from now until your dying day on this earth. And be assured, you are going to die too. Each day you look in the mirror, you ladies, you are getting older. And you men too. You might end up looking like me. Do you remember that scripture in Proverbs? It says, expectation postponed is making the heart sick. I feel sad to think about Jehovah's Witnesses because they are expecting something and hoping and waiting and wishing for it to arrive, and it isn't going to come. And that's going to put a lot of stress on you and you're going to get sick in your mind and sick in your heart with expectation unfulfilled. If, however, you make a decision now to leave the Watchtower, you have the rest of your life ahead of you. Like health and fitness, you can improve your life at any age. People of 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 can improve their fitness and their health at those ages. And even though you think you may not have long to live on this planet, you can make the best of the remaining years of your life, because you just don't know how long you've got. So why not live for now? Live a real life and not a lie, giving all your time and energy and effort and hope and devotion to an unworthy group of men in Brooklyn, an organisation which has proved itself to be deceitful, led by liars, led by people who are interested in their own welfare and not that of the flock of God, which they claim to have in their care. I hope you find a way out, and I'm going to be making videos shortly showing you how you can leave the Watchtower and find happiness and a new life outside. Thanks for listening.